Welcome to the E-Commerce Alley, where we believe that great brands are built on passionate leadership, smart operations, and of course, powerful marketing. My name is Josh Coffey, and I'm the founder of the E-Commerce Alley, which is where I'm hanging out. And this is a really special episode because if you're watching on YouTube right now, then you're gonna see that I have my great friend here, Kyle, who you're the first person in our studio that's not Dylan. How does that feel?
Magical.
Does you feel the pressure?
I can feel the presence of Dylan here, though.
You feel the presence of Dylan in the air.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited that Kyle's here because I've known you for over. We'll talk about how long we've known each other, but Kyle is very, very intelligent, very talented at scaling brands and taking things from like 0 to $1 million months in like no time flat, by all standards. And so I've gotten to know you really well over the last 6 months, which has been really cool. A lot of the conversations we've had, and then watching what you've been able to do. And so I wanted to bring Kyle on. Kyle's actually from Las Vegas. So he's here in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. Thank you.
Yeah, it's cold outside.
For coming out here. A lot more cows than out there.
Yeah.
A lot more Amish.
Yeah, definitely.
But Kyle came out here, and I'm really excited because I believe it's really important to get behind the minds of other perspectives. Like Dylan and I are on here a lot, and we get to share a lot of here's what we're doing, here's what we see working. But I think it's so valuable to get other perspective that are not Dylan and Josh in the E-Commerce Alley, because you have systems and ways and things that you do that I think a lot of people would benefit from. And so I want to get into it.
Let's go for it.
Let's get get into it.
Thanks for your kind words too. I appreciate that.
Of course. So bring me back. How did we first get connected?
We first got connected when, let's see, so back like summertime, I was trying to learn a lot more about ads because I feel like, I was able to have some pretty good success with it, but I also know like I don't know everything ever. And matter of fact, I know nothing. So I'm always trying to learn. And I started buying lots of Facebook ad course, e-commerce ads course, things like that. And then came across E-Commerce Alley. So I was like, let me check this out and see if these guys actually have anything that's different. And so you guys did. And so that's how we started. Then I talked to your brother. And then he talked about NPM. I said, I'm just going to hold off for a little bit now.
We met about it too, didn't we?
I think we did.
We hopped on a one-on-one part. The NPM, for anyone listening, it's our Max Profits mentorship.
Yeah.
And we talked about it, but you're in a unique scenario because your business model with new Heidts is that you acquire or take equity stakes or do certain deals with brands, and then you install your framework. So it kind of didn't make sense for the NPM at the time.
Yeah, and I don't know. There was also, I think you kind of mentioned you're like, I don't know if this is a good fit for you because of your business model, and also you're kind of a little bit further along than 95% of our members. But let's just keep contact and stuff like that. And then a few months passed by, and I think that was when it was like the end of summer, and I reached back out. I was like, Josh, what do you got for ads? Like, can I buy you, or can I buy like an hour of your time for like, get your insight? Cause me, I don't have a whole giant team and no one that could talk to or anything like that when it comes to ads. Mm-hmm. And so you're like, yeah, let's just hop on a call and see. And I was like, all right, let me just get involved with your Max Profits mentorship and build off that just so we can have more conversation, and you can bring your insight in, I can bring mine in, and maybe magic things happen that are from both perspectives that can, grow our businesses that we're working with. So that was like, I think end of summer, beginning of Q4, where we really started hopping on to lots of calls and, weekly calls and getting involved with that.
It's been a ton of fun. Yeah. It's pretty crazy actually. And then you ended up having, November was and I want to talk about one brand in particular. Yeah. We're not going to name them because obviously I feel like someone listening is going to go try to reverse engineer everything that you did, which I'm going to reverse engineer some, but we got to keep some of it a little private.
Yeah.
I want to talk about one of the brands that you basically took from almost nothing online. Like you went and launched did you launch their website or was it already existing?
It was existing, but it was just existing. When I mean it was a bad website, it was like a bad website.
Okay. So you went in and you even told me a few minutes ago you launched their Facebook page. So I view all of that as starting from scratch, essentially. Like they had offline presence, but online was non-existent. And then you took them a little less than 2 years to almost a first $1 million month.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So the goal was at first, when I got started with them, was to basically like see how fast I could install, because I was really taking all the knowledge that I knew from previous, whether I was working at agencies or I used to have a business partner that we had a little, company at the time, and I was installing these systems. And so this was really like my first, let me actually see if this is stuff that I know if it actually works, because I've just it wasn't theory, it wasn't practice when I was actually handling accounts, whether it was like working at an agency or working with my previous business partner. And like, yes, there was traction, but this was like the first clear path, like starting from ground zero for the most part. How can I install everything and see what happens? And so I gave myself like a little goal. I was like, let me see if I can get these guys to at least $1 million this year in sales, which, for a lot of companies, that's pretty awesome for their first year of sales. Like, $1 million and keep it like 15-20% gross profit margin. And so we started in 2022 in October is when we kind of locked down the deal. And I basically was like, don't pay me anything up front, just pay me off results. And so they were super on board with that, because the owner,
that's like no agency does that.
No agency does that.
No one does that.
No.
Pay me only if I get you a really good result.
Yeah. So, which the owner was, he's super successful guy and made a lot of money in his direct mail marketing back in the day. Like, he was very old school. So when we came up with that agreement, he was like all on board, because that's what he told me. That's how he got rich, is that he just,
I wonder if he doubted that you could do it, because if he's so used to direct mail, I wonder if he in the back of his mind was like, "Oh, there's no way you're going to compete with direct mail. Performance basis, sure."
yeah.
And you proved him wrong.
It started at like 10%, and and then build after we actually got a lot of success. I was like, we renegotiated, but so yeah, the first year was like, let's see if we can get to $1 million. And so from October to about end of January 2023, we had to rebuild everything. So they did have a website, but their sales literally were, I think overall time for their sales was $2,000.
So,
and I'm talking like the website has been there for 5 years, and
really?
I looked at their whole
Could you place an order on their website?
Yes, but it was sketchy.
It was real sketch. It must have been real sketch to make $2,000 in it.
Yeah. So
years.
What they were kind of hoping on is like they would have really, really high prices on their website, and then people, if they somehow looked up the direct mail piece they got in the mail, they would see that the price, like, wow, it's so much more expensive on the website.
They anchored it. Yeah. So then the direct mail was a deal.
Marketing, tactic there. But for the most part, after that, we just had to, rebuild. So they had no digital presence at all. And they didn't even know like digital marketing really. And so when I was talking like, well, we have to set up a Facebook page, Instagram page, Facebook manager page. And I'm like, you need to have 2-factor authentication on. They're like, what's 2-factor authentication? I was like, well, we don't want to get hacked. So like things like that. So setting all those little things up to where we then came up with like, what's their front end offer. So I kind of started with my whole systems. So they have really great products. And I think that's what was really, a huge factor of how they became so successful pretty fast was because their products are very unique. And I think, as you know, like the products that stand out the most in the marketplace are something that's really unique, solves a really big problem, or, both of those together. Because if you're like, oh, I'm selling clothing gear or something like that, it's like very big commodity. And yes, marketing can win. Like Liquid Death is my favorite. They sell water, biggest commodity ever.
Yeah.
For the most part.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. So how can we come up with this offer here? Because that's going to be our main driver.
Yeah.
I always look at it from like a product-based growth strategy. And so since they had a pretty awesome, unique initial product, I was like, this is going to be our offer. So it was really nothing complex at all, where it was like, we need to plug in all this stuff. I was like, let's just give a big discount. And at the time it was a 50% discount because they had really high website prices, which for the, it made sense because people still buy it at that price. But I was like, it matches their direct mail marketing to a certain extent. It was a little bit more expensive. So I said, let's just run with this. And then I need images. I need anything you guys have. And so they had a lot of images that were like photoshopped and like really old school, like you would see, I don't even know. But I was like, we need to make these more modern, make it feel real. So we had video and stuff like that. And then we launched in February. In the first month, all we did though was we just did a pre-launch. And so we launched ads to generate emails saying, hey, this product is going to be, live to the public coming end of February, whatever the date was there. And so we just ran ads and we built up like, 4,000 or 5,000 people on our email list, which they had 0. And so that helped. And then once we launched, it took off. And like, we weren't spending massive amounts of money, but I know the campaigns were obviously retargeting people that are on our list. We were sending out emails. So we set up that whole system. We could break that down more too as well. Yeah. So it was like lead ads that then came into an automated flow in Klaviyo, to where in that automated flow is basically like, hey, thanks for joining. We gave preview emails of like the actual images of what they could get in order. It's a personalized product. So that we have a cool software called Nifty Images that we plug into Klaviyo that then pulls any like metadata field to like personalize.
Really?
Yeah.
I was wondering how you do that because I bought some of the product.
Yeah,
I was wondering.
So
That's cool.
It pulls in like last names, obviously,
Yep.
and puts it on the product for personalization. And so that's
Nifty
called
images.
Nifty images. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that makes the emails much more personalized, and the product is personalized. So once you see the product, you're like, wow, that's my name on the product. It's very cool. And so that whole flow just kind of like educated on who the brand was a little bit, on the product itself. And then we kind of just did like little teasers like a week before, like, hey, 7 more days until it's launched live. And then after that, we did basically like an email launch about, 5 to 7-ish days with like, it's live, here's the offer, here's educational pieces on it, here's benefits. We have a couple spokespersons for the brand as well. One used to be like the treasurer of the United States, so that's kind of cool authority. So we have an email that comes from her, and those emails all did really well. And then our ads just started doing really well. We didn't start spending a whole lot, obviously, because they were still very like iffy about spending money, because they're like, well, in the direct mail world, it's like if we spend $90,000 to send out this many mail pieces, like they won't get that back for like sometimes 2 months. And so that cash conversion cycle is very slow.
Yeah.
And so when they started seeing it, like, hey, we're spending money today and we already have like,
more than that today.
more than that today.
It's
They're like, wow,
addicting
this is
feeling.
awesome. So I think the first month we spent like $5,000.
Okay.
Because we built up a lot of emails. I convinced them, was like, spend $5,000. It's like, that's kind of the initial amount that I want you to spend, so we can get a lot of data fast, and you can learn fast, and you can build off that. Because like if you're doing $500 a month, it's going to take a while for us to learn. Yeah. So they agreed to that. And then, that all came back within the first day that we actually launched ads.
Really? From those emails?
From the emails.
Ah, okay.
And so that was just right back. And then, of course, we started our ads that were just like conversion ads to the product, basically saying like, hey, this product is now live. So it retargeted people on our list, retargeted anybody that interacted with our Facebook page or Instagram page, and then also reached a really good, cool audience. And so that beginning couple months was awesome, because it was like ROAS was really high because we're not spending that much, and the product was it was a premium price product. And then numbers were coming in really great. Our cost per acquisition was very small, and so like it worked. And then over time, I think the first month we did $45,000, $43,000.
Whoa, really?
After the emails.
After the email growth.
Yeah, so the email campaigns actually brought in some sales from the website, because people would just go on and they would see, because it also does attract a specific type of customer that likes to buy like collector items and things like that. Yeah. And so that did bring in some purchases, but I'm talking like maybe $4,000 for the month. So they almost made their money back from that investment, but not much profit. So the next month when we actually launched conversion ads, like 45,000. And then we kind of maintained that growth month over month. And then September came and it tanked. And we're like, okay, this is interesting, because this is still our first year running ads. Like, why is it tanking in September? I'm like, well, Q4 is right around the corner, so maybe it doesn't. So now we've had 2 years in a row where September kind of really tanks. But then October came that year and things took off. So we launched our main, we're keeping the same offer as well. And they're like, let's try to, build something off what we already sell that works. And so it's like, hey, if we sell a t-shirt that works really well with a specific design, like how can we make a new iteration of that design that basically will sell the same? And so that's basically what we did. We took what we were selling really well, made a new design for it for like a Christmas theme, and that helped for that Christmas time as well. So then we had basically the same offer as far as percentage off goes, but it was just 2 different products that we ran for that Q4. And so that Q4, up to that time, I think we made like $300,000 or $400,000, which is pretty awesome. And then Q4 came around and it pushed us to 1.2 million right after that.
For the whole year, or just
for the whole
quarter?
year? So we hit the goal of like $1 million in the first year, and we did it in 10.5 months.
Yeah.
So that was pretty awesome.
That's amazing. So I want to just press pause really fast on the offer, because I think that this is really, really important. Is a lot of people think that like an offer fatigues, and you've gotten to the point where what do you spend on like an evergreen basis on ads?
Right now we're at like 5,000.
5,000, and we're in Q1, which obviously, what were you kind of spending a day on average in Q4? If you just
10 to 11,000.
10 to 11,000 a day. So
Second year round, yeah.
So I think that this is really important, because you've spent millions of dollars advertising at this point.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to talk about, like, you've been running the same offer this whole time, right?
Yeah. For the
Same
most part.
offer, like since you launched?
Since we launched.
So you just got the offer right.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, so I think it's important for anybody to hear that because like you have this, what's the offer?
The offer was literally 50% off.
50% off your first order.
Yeah.
You get, okay. So just the first order and then you get customers in and then email, repeat, I would assume.
Yeah. So that's the plan because they had multiple products in the back end and the front end for me, I'm always like, well, what's the offer that's going to work? And sometimes it takes some testing to figure out what's getting a little bit more traction along with like creative testing and seeing what really resonates. But I was like, this is the product. This is going to be their flagship product because this is what worked for them the best in direct mail. So I was like, let's see what it does here. Plus, I think it's a really awesome product. It's very unique. And so I was like, let's just run with this. So I built out a sales page. I was like, they wanted to do the 50% off pricing compared to their MSRP price. I was like, that's fine. And so I literally just built a sales page. Mm-hmm. That's been our product and our product page and our offer the entire time. So we just changed it, but the only reason we changed it is because we had to increase our prices a little bit because our prices are dictated by a market because we sell like silver stuff. And so with silver rises, that cuts our margin significantly. And so we had to because when we started, silver was $19. Now it's like $34 an ounce. So we had to really make some changes. So now it's 47% off.
Okay. Which is still a good deal.
Off. Yeah.
Like
and so
percentage. But you guys mark up your price to slash it to get it where you need it.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's also really important. I'm trying to approach it from like, I'm listening to this, like, if there's something you don't take away so far, you need it. Like offers on acquisition are so critical because like, I can't imagine what your acquisition cost would be trying to acquire people at full rate.
Yeah.
Like at full price.
Yeah.
And so I also think something's really interesting about your funnel is you drive people to like what do you call that first page?
A pre-sale page.
A pre-sale page.
Yeah.
So you drive it to a pre-sale page, which outlines the offer, but then when you click the call to action on that pre-sale page, and it's a long page, it is all about the unique selling points and all these things. When you press the get my 50% off, whatever the CTA is, it drives them to the product page.
Yeah.
And then where the offer is automatically applied to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
have you tried it directly to the product?
I have.
You have, okay.
But it didn't work as well. And the main reason I really like pre-sale pages is because it pre-qualifies them a lot more. So it can really be like extensive stuff. And yes, you could do that on the product page. They just didn't have a good product page at the time, and we're still working on building that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's no way I can just send people right to here because it's kind of wonky. And we fixed it a little bit, but we're still rebuilding out the whole back-end website.
I love how you're like, it's still kind of wonky. The product page really isn't that good. Did $1 million in November.
Yeah.
so you could make it work.
It was all through the pre-sale page.
Yeah.
And that's where we like, there's a specific structure and whatnot you want to build out through it. Like I really focus on headline. Basically, if the headline doesn't sell the product or doesn't capture them, like they're probably not going to look. They're going to just scroll maybe a little bit. They don't see the offer. They don't see the benefits of it. I usually keep the features at the end unless it's a really important feature like 0.999 silver or something like that. So keep those benefits at the top that really just gives them like the offer with a big, beautiful picture or video, which we tested video, didn't perform very well compared to having just a real live picture of the product in somebody's hands. And so that pre-sale page then pre-qualifies everybody that then hits the product page then. So I also keep the offer pop-up that comes on the website on the page. So it's not excluded from that page. So people will opt in there and then also look through the rest of the page and buy, or they'll at least be in our email ecosystem now, to which then they get the email flows, the automated flows. So, but it's all just, traffic to a pre-sale page, and the pre-sale page either captures their email or it pre-qualifies their click to go to the product page, to which then they check out. So.
Okay. So if you were to like lay out your current marketing system, like at least like the buckets of where you put your attention, what does it look like from like top to bottom? Like if you were just to summarize the current marketing efforts that you're doing. Yeah.
So before looking at ads, I want to make sure that there's an offer and a pre-sale page, making sure that the pre-sale page is all designed out. Specifically, it's just like, capturing everything that's up top, a transformation, which I learned from this guy, Oliver Kean, I think his name is, but he has this website called Conversion Wise. He teaches CRM. Yeah, so he's got some great stuff. So I applied a lot of his tactics to these pre-sale pages, and it helped a lot. So basically a transformation of how easy it is to get the product, focus on benefits, you sell with the features, and then you have like social proof, frequently asked questions, and another call to action. So there's a system to that for the most part. And then from the pre-sale page, make sure that obviously the website works for the product page, go through that whole funnel. And then I look at the email system. because I want to make sure that if we're spending money on ads, we're going to be able to capture them in some sort of way so that we can retarget them if we're not retargeting them on ads, because retargeting on email is much more cost effective than actually spending more money on ads to retarget them, even though Meta Ads does that for the most part amongst their campaigns. So I look at the whole email system to where if they opt in and not buy, what's the whole email flow? So there's 15 different flows that we have that all are based off basically users' actions. And so if they join the welcome flow, that's the main flow that has a really great conversion rate. So they get their initial email, and then if they open that email, but they didn't purchase, they get a separate email. If they didn't open that email, they basically get the same email with a different headline to get just top of their mind, and they have the whole process that goes there. So I look at that system for the most part just for ads. And then also make sure I have browse abandonment, add to cart abandonment, cart abandonment, checkout abandonment, just to make sure that they're going to be hit with emails if we have their email and they're part of our flow, because the goal is to obviously get them into a paying customer to where then they go into separate flows. So I really pay attention to email because it has the ability to convert customers and you can retarget to them for very cheap.
Yeah.
And I mean, just to like go back to how they were doing things before with the direct mail, if they spent $100,000 on a marketing campaign and they got, let's say 500 customers from that campaign, which is pretty good, they'd have to spend another $100,000 to market to that 500 customers because they have to drop all the, printing and stuff like that in direct mail, where email, obviously, you send an email to 500 people. Basically, the only cost you have is your email cost for Klaviyo.
Which is like nothing.
Which is less than a penny, you know? So it's pretty crazy there. So that was that. And then after email, then I look at the ads. And so that's where we break it down to creatives, videos, static images, which really work well for us. Very organic, raw content that doesn't have a lot of editing to it. Works the best for videos for us. UGC has worked. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does. But you really just somebody just whipped out their phone and filmed the product, and that
those are the best.
Yeah, those are the best because it gives a real tangible feel. And I think where they struggled a lot with is that since we sell personalized silver. People, Facebook comments are a great comedy scene to where you can just see people saying, oh, it's a Chinese scam and stuff like that. So really showing the product tangible, that it's real rather than like a photoshopped image.
Interesting.
Makes a huge difference that it's like, oh, this is actually a real product. And the whole unboxing experience or showing what it comes in, XYZ, shows that it's like a real thing. So that's what helps those ads for video. But yeah, we do static images and then call outs. Static templates, from what I got from you guys, I had quite a few before. Always try and test a lot. And I look at that whole thing to where after we come up with the ads, or kind of the strategy for the ads, look at, okay, what kind of ads can we make for specific ideal customer profiles or angles? And so for us, the two biggest markets for us is kind of the collector type, which is a big market, but small market. And then the biggest market is the gifting market.
Yeah.
And so everybody's always giving a gift every single day, all the time, right? No matter who it is. So there's different angles within those specifically. So in the collector's market, they could collect stamps, or they can collect coins, or they collect silver or gold. So there's a lot of angles you can take there. And then in the gifting market, I mean, what's one guy giving another guy a gift, like the ultimate guy gift, or what's a great gift for my husband or for my wife, or whatever people are asking. And which I have a wife, by the way, not a husband. So getting all those clear ideal customer profiles and angles in the gifting market, to which then really helps shape the ideal content and the creative to run ads to, but then funnel down the whole system.
So So it sounds like, so you got your offer. I like how you started with email, actually. I'm a huge fan of ads. I think ads are absolutely critical, but I do agree that the automations and the flows, you got to get those in place, because it's kind of like...
Well, you think of it as like a leaky bucket, right?
Yeah,
so you're running ads and people are coming in and they're leaving. You don't want to have that happen. So if you can get that email system in first, people are coming in and then they're staying in. So sorry.
I think that, I think that is... that's really smart. You need to get the automations in place. So then you start driving traffic. Well, I do want to do a breakdown of the campaign structure, because I know that some people that are nerdy like me are going to want to know what is working for you.
We'll nerd out.
But you're driving traffic to this pre-sale page. They click the button. It goes to the product page. They're then buying the product. What else? Like, are you doing other forms of advertising? Are you email campaigns, SMS? Like, is there anything else that you have in like your arsenal of what you do?
Yeah, we do, email cadence twice a week, unless we do like a product launch. That's a whole strategy as well. So we have a marketing calendar that I build, and then we come up with specific offers for the month, or if they do new product launches. And so usually if it's just like a normal week, it's 2 emails a week. We have evergreen kind of offers that we can give like a certain percentage off that we'll plug in. But what really works for us the best is like coming up with specific weekly only offers or a product launch type deal. And so with the product launch type deal or the specific week only offers is that it's like, they get a little teaser on Tuesday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they get like last chance emails. It's only good for that week. Those campaigns crush.
You do that every week? Or
No, not every week. But twice a month. So every other week, possibly we'll do something like that. If they have a lot of new product launches, which makes it's a little bit easier for them to come up with a new product launch because it's just a design. But we'll have that. We'll do 5 or 6 emails, and just there's a theme to them. Whereas honestly, the ones that work best for us are text emails. So it's like coming from either one of our spokesperson, or like we call her our vault distribution manager. So she will write emails that I will write.
You write emails for her.
Yeah,
right.
and those do the best. But then our graphic design emails, those do really, really well because you can put the personalized aspect on it. But yeah, there's a system to that where it's just like Tuesday is a teaser, Thursday is a reminder that's like, hey, coming in, this is the offer this week. It's really focusing on, it's the percentage off, it's this, it's really urgency, not really scarcity, because I don't think scarcity works too much. Urgency works a lot better.
Yeah.
So then it comes down to the price, showing that, and then really Saturday and Sunday they get 2 or 3 emails saying like final day, final hours, last chance. And all that really works.
All the sales come in on the last day.
Saturday and Sunday work really well on those sales, which is different than our regular email cadence, where Tuesday and Thursday really works the best for us.
It's funny. Every time we do like a promo sprint like that, we're about to do a 4-day one, and I know that day 1 will be like it'll spike. Day 2 and 3, and then day 4. And like everyone comes in the last 5.5 minutes of the promo.
Yeah.
So I would agree with you on that. Urgency usually moves people over scarcity.
Yeah.
We only have one brand we work with that I think scarcity does really well, but it's because we only do a limited edition launch every quarter of like very unique fine art. And so it's like there's only X amount of these, and it builds and there's wait lists for people to get on in order to get them. But it's really hard to make scarcity work. So I would agree with you on that.
I like the wait list building. It's kind of like building the tension to a certain extent, to where it's like if you can put them in the email list and their waiting list, and you still can't stay interactive with them because they're going on a wait list and they're waiting for a month, and like you haven't emailed them or SMS messaged them or anything like that, they kind of probably forget about it. It was just like a little instant urgent desire, like, oh, this is really cool, I'll be on the wait list, and then they either find a different product or they're just like, meh.
Yeah. When you do your emails, even during like the regular cadence, do you also do SMS?
Not too much.
Really?
I've read a couple times. I didn't have success with it, and it might just be to our market. I don't know, because we have a little bit older demographic.
It is a little bit older because like the text works for you. The text emails work for you, but that's not I don't see that very common.
Yeah, which is different because our main demographic, since it's a premium price, we like our core bigger market would probably be like baby boomers and Gen X, but before millennials. So those two markets, those are the ones who usually have the money, but they are used to text emails.
Yeah.
Texting is a little bit new to them. But phone calls, they're like, oh yeah, just call me, don't text me. I'm sure if you text your parents, like there's no emotion behind it. It's like, okay, like it's like, okay, great to see you, like great to see you, Josh, like good to see you, honey, or whatever what they want to say. But like when I text my dad, he's just like, cool. But like I know in his mind, he's probably like, all right, cool,
Yeah.
And so texting to them is maybe new. Yeah. So the text emails and then the graphic emails, they work as well, but the text emails, maybe because they're coming from a spokesperson, like there's a person behind it.
Yeah.
There's the sincerely, there's the best wishes, so-and-so.
Really? You best wish people, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
Best wishes, I sincerely, all kinds of stuff. Speak soon, that's my favorite.
Speak soon. So, that's amazing. That's
but
like
those ones, those
sign
personalized text emails, and they're just text emails. That's it. So there's nothing.
Yeah, so it makes sense why SMS doesn't work super well, because like that's not personalized, and it's going to come from a number that is
not saying,
and it's going to say reply stop to unsubscribe,
Yeah.
at least the first few that they get or the first one they get and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
What we are going to test now, though, is that we're going to start putting some SMS in our automated flows, but very just quick. Because if they opt into our website and our pop-up and they enter the email, obviously the next step is say enter your phone number for SMS messages. I think what we're going to test is see if we can capitalize within that first 3-4 days so they don't forget our phone number. So it keeps multiple touch points on there. So they're seeing our emails. They did opt in to get a text message. They got the text message, and then maybe the next day they get the text message that's still saved there. That's not whose number is this? Oh yeah.
Let's talk about pop-ups real quick.
Yep.
How do you see it? How crucial is that to the website, do you think?
Very crucial.
Okay.
I've tested running ads to our pre-sale page without the pop-up and with the pop-up. And with the pop-up, massive difference in conversion. Mm-hmm. Because I think also people, they don't see their personalized product in the product page, the pre-sale page, but if they opt in and then they get the email, they see their name on the personalized product. And so that helps with conversion a lot. And also, we have an excellent conversion rate from our pop-up.
Yeah.
So that helps so much on retention in the back end and remarketing those people. So without the pop-up, I've seen it work well, but it's also a high-priced item. And so usually the higher the priced item is, the lower the conversion rate initially is. And so I saw that without the pop-up, it was just right to the page and then they're gone.
Yeah.
If they don't check out or anything, because we don't have their email.
Do you require SMS?
No.
You don't?
No.
But it's the second step. So they give you their email and then it's next step, give us your phone number.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people drop off there?
Off the top of my head, not a percentage-wise, I don't.
Okay.
But a lot.
A lot.
But they also can click, no, I don't want to opt in.
Yeah.
And then it goes right to the next page, which goes to the offer.
Okay, so I can I share something with you?
Let's go.
We just ran this test last
Let's
week.
do it.
So this added $34,000 in revenue in a 7-day window of time. So I literally just recorded a YouTube video on this morning, so it's super fresh.
Nice.
So 2 weeks ago, we're working with one of the brands that we were partnered with. Their pop-up is very effective. I think if you don't have a pop-up, you're just leaving so much money on the table.
Yeah.
And so their pop-up gated people with it would be like email, SMS, offer. Then you get to the success page.
Yeah.
And then it would say, go check your email for the coupon. I don't know if you do that or if you let them clip it. Do you let them clip it right there?
I let them click it right there.
Okay, perfect. I think that's another key. So they didn't do that. So you know what I found was 41% of people were falling off at the SMS, the phone number stage because they thought it was required, even if you could say no, people just don't like giving their phone number out.
Yeah.
I mean, so it almost felt kind of like a bait and switch to me where it's hey, here's an email, get 15% off your first order. And then, also, if you give us your SMS, you're going to be part of our loyalty program. And then thank you page. And they're like, hey, go confirm your email and to get the coupon, which I think is an expensive mistake.
Yeah.
So all we did was we removed the SMS line, the SMS step, and we just added the clip the coupon right there. And the next 7 days went from 21,000 to 55,000 in sales, just because we had 41% more people being able to get to the coupon that they wanted and then be able to clip it versus going to their email.
Yeah, that's smart.
It was just, so if you're seeing a lot of drop off, it'd be interesting to test it because if SMS doesn't work super well for you, just remove it altogether and run an A/B split test in Klaviyo and just say with SMS and without and see what the results are. It's pretty crazy when we did it.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it out loud and speaking about it, our main demographic, texting is
so if
still
they feel,
new for them.
even if they get hit no thanks, you know how people don't read. People are not very observant. They're
I'm outta here.
I don't want my phone number, exit, Anyway, sorry to
no.
derail us there.
That's great. I'm definitely going to apply that today.
So
when I get to the airport.
Let's do it. Okay, so pop-up, you send the email campaigns twice a week, and you send SMS sometimes, but not all the time.
I haven't sent an SMS in a long time because we ran some, no success. And they were very last chance type offers because the text is very minimum.
Yeah.
It's literally just what's the offer? Here's the link.
Yeah.
That's it. And so they didn't work too well for us here.
What about any other ad platforms? Are you using anything else?
Google.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what kind of campaigns are you running over there?
PMAX and branded search campaign.
Okay.
And we've done non-branded search campaigns, but I haven't bought into them yet.
Yeah.
I think you can scale to a really high number with just Performance Max branded. Branded's obviously bottom of the funnel. People are looking for your brand specifically. So you want to capitalize and make sure they're there. So even if you're not running a PMax campaign or you're not running any Google ads, set up a branded campaign for $50 a day. It's not going to spend the full $50 a day, but it's going to capture anybody who does see your ads on Meta or somewhere else, and they look you up on Google. You're gonna be in front of them. So
much of that too.
And then Performance Max, and those two campaigns crush it for us on Google.
PMax cranks. I love it.
So we've had really lows with PMax. Maybe Google was making all their changes and stuff like Meta does sometimes. But once we really honed it and really honed the strategy for copy and strategy for asset groups and the offer there too, which is different than what we do on Google or on Meta. And so we can break that down as well. On Google, we have what's called a welcome offer page. So we actually have like 4 or 5 offers in there. Same kind of pricing structure where it's 48% off, up to 48% off. But there's like 4 or 5 different products. And that was just the idea behind that was because I asked a lot of people who ran Google ads. I'm like, what about a specific product campaign for Performance Max? So if like we're only selling this one product in Performance Max, how would that do? And a lot of them told me that Performance Max would do a lot better with multiple.
Really?
So,
I got to take that note.
We're testing it right now where I have one asset group is basically to the welcome offers, and then the next asset group is to the product page of the main personalized product that we sell.
Okay.
And so it's still doing really well. I'll have to wait a couple more days to get more insight on that. But the main offer page is a welcome offer that has like 5 or 6 offers that can really, they take their pick, and that works for us really, really well.
I need to take that for some of ours.
Yeah,
I'm not doing that. I love PMax.
Yeah,
PMax is great. I think that it takes a lot of it's very like it takes a lot of the bottom of the funnel stuff. I think it takes a lot of credit because a lot of Meta is the core driver, and as soon as if you drop Meta spend, you typically notice PMax performance goes down. So there's like definitely correlation there.
Definitely.
But what do you spend percentages? How much on Meta? How much on Google? And do you do TikTok or anything else, or just
no TikTok, no Pinterest, no anything else?
I guess your audience on TikTok probably doesn't exist there.
I mean, maybe not.
For the most
part. I'm a firm believer in focus. And if I've worked with a couple brands, multiple brands, especially agencies, they're like, oh, we want to run Pinterest ads, we want to run these Criteo ads, we want to run all these different platform ads, TikTok ads. I'm like, stop. You're spending $2,000 a day on Meta. That's it, and it's giving you the best return. So just take all this distraction money that you wanted to put over here and just put it into what's working and maximize what's working, because you could scale Meta ads to, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a day if you're a really, really big brand. And yes, at that stage, you could be like, all right, you want to hit other marketing channels. But before even just picking a random ad platform, saying that I have to be on it, like I have to be on TikTok ads, I have to do Pinterest ads, I would look at other marketing channels and marketing pillars that would probably give me a better high return. You might lose money in the beginning testing out which one works, but I bet that a majority of them would give you a better return if you really tested it out than just coming up with another ad platform, because you really want to specialize in one thing that's going to bring you to the $10, $25 million revenue range or even more. And then you can start to now we have maybe a little bit more quote unquote fun marketing money.
Yeah.
That you can put to
influencers and stuff like that too, and put in that bucket.
So I don't think you can use UGC creators and stuff to get content made in the beginning, but obviously some bigger micro influencers to bigger influencers, there might be a pretty penny for some of those. Where I'm like, you can get to 50 million by just running Facebook and Google ads. Yeah. That's it. So just do the best. You need more creatives, or just shoot more photos, test more things, all on Facebook, all on Google, and then maximize those the best you can.
There's a lot of power in focus. I think that's a huge takeaway. Yeah. Is you're right. This year what do you think you guys might close this year out at? If you're just a guesstimate.
I'm shooting for 15 million.
15, okay.
Yeah. I want to do 2 to 3 million October, November, December, each month.
Each month, okay.
Yeah, so our goal is to spend about $600 to $700,000 those months. Yeah. November probably being upwards, spending $1 million instead of last year we made $1 million. I want to spend $1 million this year, make $2 or $3 million this year. Yeah. Now that we've just have 2 years in a row where it's just hockey stick. Yeah. October, November, December. Yeah. So.
I think that's a really key thing is we're in the Max Profits mentorship. There are a lot of conversations that go around because we have so many people and people talk about influencer marketing, and then start talking about Pinterest ads, and then talking about TikTok, and then no one talks about X ads right now, but like they talk about all these different platforms, and it's like, guys, like you're doing $20,000 a month in sales. Why are you doing anything other? Take it easy. Why are you doing anything other than just being wildly focused? And it's like, I'd like to give this example of, let's pretend that the Facebook gods came down and said, hey, we're going to give you $1,000 per day to spend, and we're going to guarantee a 4 return on ad spend or 3, or give some really attractive number, right? 4 return on ad spend, no matter how you decide to disperse this amongst campaigns. You could spend I think you need to even be focused within the platforms.
Yes.
So if I came down and said, I'm going to give you $1,000 a day, you could put this in 1 campaign, you could put this in 15 campaigns. It's completely up to you. I will guarantee a 4x return on ad spend. Disperse it how you want. Why would you do anything more than 1 campaign? Because it's like, you want to be focused. Well, it's 15 times more work. And I view the same thing as like platforms. Like if you're spending $500 a day or $100 a day, why would you spend 50 on here, 20 over here, 20 over here? It's just so diversified that it's like, it's so much work.
Yeah.
Like if you just get one thing cranking, you could spend 10 grand a day on Meta and do nothing else. And then just go send your emails.
Yeah.
It's so funny because we talk about this, because I try to view through the lens of like people that haven't done it or don't know. You know, we're on the other side of like, we just do this all the time. It's like ads and email, maybe SMS if it works for you, ads and email. And
ads on one platform.
Ads on one platform, not 15.
Yeah.
You don't need influencers. You're doing $28,000 a month in sales. Like, just stay focused on it. I think that's a really important thing right there.
Yeah, definitely. Especially like you just said, even staying focused within the platform itself.
Yeah.
Like I've seen Google accounts where there's like 15 different PMAX campaigns. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
What's going on?
Like, what are you guys doing?
I'm lost, just trying to find the right PMAX that I'm looking for.
Yeah, and then I go into Facebook ad accounts and there's 15 to 20 different campaigns in there. I'm like, well, you can condense a whole lot of these campaigns and maximize your return significantly.
Yeah.
And so like I've gone into one account where they've had like 8 or 9 campaigns running. They're not spending a whole lot of money, $1,000 a day. I'm like, shut off all these campaigns, take the best ads from this, and just put it into one and start there.
Yeah.
And see if it gets more efficient. And then we'll start a little maybe testing campaign. And then we'll just go 1-2 punch right here. What if we test? What can we put into here?
Yeah.
And then as you start to spend more, maybe a little bit more campaigns, but not like 8 or 9, 2 or 3 or 4 as you're testing. I like to try testing really top of funnel traffic only ads. That's like kind of like an evergreen thing with a video, long form video. Some people don't like to do that. I like to do that because it just builds up more people in our ecosystem. Plus, a lot of those people opt in actually as well. And then with also like a conversion testing campaign, validation/testing campaign from the testing winners, and then the moneymaker.
Yeah.
The scaling campaign.
Let's talk. I do want to talk through. Let's talk through campaign structure.
Yeah.
Because I know someone's going to be wondering outside of me.
Yeah.
So let's say you've done ad labbing or lo-fi testing, or we have some testing frameworks. So like, let's say you find something you're like, I want to start spending more money on these. Can you walk me through how many campaigns do you launch for it? How many ad sets, if you're doing how many ad sets would you put? And maybe how do you structure the ads? Like you're running Flex, you're running unique ads. Like if you were to just what you're seeing work right now for you.
Yeah. So I'm in a big testing phase of actual structure within the ad. So I've gone Flex to just single ads. That's only in the validation campaign. But what I would normally do is I would test with an ad lab now, where we test lots of creatives, test headlines. I did test primary text, but I stopped testing that mostly.
Yeah.
So really just focused on headlines because, which now I really just focus on creatives. But I did headlines because I could use those for landing pages. I can use those for subject lines, XYZ. So I have like a big bank of headlines that have worked. But now basically it's like just testing creatives within there. And then any of the creatives that win in that, using either the dashboard that we have that you guys set up, or just seeing which one has the highest click and click-through rate, that kind of gives me an idea. I also look for scroll stops rate, which I shoot for like a 30% or higher. And that just means like out of 1,000 impressions, what's the percentage of people that stopped and watched the first 3 seconds? So I look for anything that's like high click-through rate, scroll stop rate at like 30% or more, and also it's got a good cost per click with lots of clicks. So usually 1 or 2 ads that come out of there, and then I take those, or excuse me, 1 to 3 ads I look for out of those, and I put those into a basically validation campaign, which is a CBO campaigns. So the testing is usually ABO, ad set budget. The validation one for me, I've used CBO campaigns. And within there, depending on how many ads that come out of the testing, I usually just run 1 to 2 ad sets. Now in the testing, if there's multiple angles that I'm testing and there's multiple creatives, that's when there's 2 ad sets in the validation.
You group them by angle or
angles or market. So like just overall, there's gifting, there's collectors. And then the top 3 ads from there, top 3 ads from collecting, top 3 ads from gifting. And usually I run a flex ad on those. It used to be DCA, but now it's flexed ad. And that has always performed really, really well for me in that validation campaign.
How much do you spend on so if you're running campaign level budget, how much do you set the budget at?
Usually 2x my goal CPA.
Okay.
So for us, it's like 300 to 350 depending. And then I just kind of let it run. And if it's working really well, like I don't shut it off and just say, hey, these are the winners and put them in a campaign. I just scale that as much as I can. But then when I start to see like a lot of success with that campaign, what I would usually do is I would take the post ID from the winning ads, collector and gifting, and I would plump that into an ASC campaign, shopping campaign. So I'm excited to test the sales campaign that comes out. I don't have it yet.
You don't have it yet?
So
manual sales is gone. I don't know did I tell you that?
Yeah, I mean, I still
manual
have it.
sales is completely. So once it moves you over, you no longer can choose between ASC and manual sales. It's just a sales campaign. That's all. Okay. Well,
I'm stoked on that.
Yeah, which is identical.
I saw your email on that.
It's identical to manual sales campaign.
Yeah.
It's the same exact. You just get ad set level, and the only difference is AI. So.
Oh, and can you do like a ad set level budget or campaign budget level?
Yeah, you get to choose. But on the campaign level, it says like campaign budget or ad set. It's kind of, it's better in my opinion. It's more explanatory because most people didn't know what is advantage plus budget on the campaign level. It's a toggle. Yeah. Nobody knew what that meant.
Yeah.
So their messaging is better on the new one.
Yeah, well, I'm stoked to get those because I know you've mentioned them a lot, whether from the podcast or from your emails. I just haven't seen them yet in mine.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
Any of my accounts, not just a single one.
So you do move into ASC, which is now becoming the new sales campaign.
Yes. But based off our conversations and some strategies that you guys have been doing as well, I said, let me take this next test. I'm going to run manual sales campaign, CBO budget, campaign budget optimization instead of the ASC because the ASC kind of started tanking.
Yeah, recently.
I know you guys talked about lots of it taking across multiple accounts, and maybe it's because Meta's making changes and rolling out this new Advantage sales campaign instead of Advantage shopping campaign.
Yeah.
But right now I did the CBO campaign with all the winners. But usually I would take the post IDs from the validation and launch those. And I would notice that would help. But I've also now tested just rebuilding them.
Yeah.
So if it's in here, because I like to nerd out hard on like why things change and why things are affected here or there. Is it because this campaign has Advantage plus audience and this campaign has no Advantage plus audience? Does that make it work better? Which I thought does for me, honestly, sometimes. And then if I have an ad set with the same social post ID in this campaign that's also in this campaign, what's the effect that it has on both campaigns? And so I've nerded out on that for a long time. And then lots of other things we've talked about as far as like, well, how many ads for average order value plus your budget can you expect to have? That actually, because if you have a really high AOV, a really high cost per acquisition, 30 ads is not going to work for you really, or 10 ads in a campaign is not going to work. It's going to take forever you to learn unless you have like a $7,000 per day budget.
Yeah.
Which that's a lot to stomach if it's going to not work for 4 or 5 days, you know? And so I always try to keep it minimal of like 3 to 5 ads. Our budget's being able to grow a lot. So now I can get about 5 ads where still 5 ads, $6,000 a day starting to see what really
campaign level.
Campaign level.
Okay, so do you have a rule of thumb for that too?
For the campaign level budget?
Yeah.
If it's a scaling campaign, I've just started testing your guys' 10x because usually I'll do about 5x with 3 ads just to start and then scale up. That was just more like stomach issue, like making sure that I can stomach this. If this campaign doesn't work for 4 days, can I stomach losing 10 G's or more?
Yeah.
Because, like I said, we get paid off performance.
Yeah.
So we could have a great month, and I launch this new campaign. It doesn't work for 5 days. There goes half of our gross profit for the month.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's just like, can I stomach this? But for the most part, I start with the lower one and then scale.
Scale it up
after it gets done. But now I'm getting a little bit more comfortable where I was like, all right, launch this new one. It's 10x our CPA goal.
Yeah.
So start at $2,500 a day. Took off, started doing really good. just scaled it another $1,000 yesterday.
Oh, really? Okay.
So
it's amazing.
Keep doing that.
Yeah, and you're more of a budget bump kind of a scaler. You're not like I like to slow scale 5% a day so long as results in the last 7 days were above my target. Mm-hmm. You're a budget bump kind of a guy.
Yeah, I have two ways. When you started talking to me about the little small bumps, 5% every day, I was like, that's really great. But I'm like, what if I really want to scale this like right now? Mm-hmm. So I've tested a couple different things where just increasing the budget, the suggested 20%. But I'm like, what if I just did 50%? Or what if I waited another 7 days and just did 100%? Mm-hmm. Or what if I just shut the campaign off, duplicated it, and did like 30 or like a 300% increase?
Yeah.
What would happen there? So I've tried a majority of those. Where basically now the most comfortable is 20% every 3 or 4 days if it's in there. I also, for the scaling campaigns, I like to wait till it does hit 50 conversions, just because it's quote unquote then optimized and it's out of learning. Because I don't want to like give a big budget increase and then it starts to learn a whole new stuff to where now it's active and maybe it will still learn for a little bit, but I see the success work better after that 50 conversions on the higher spend campaigns. But yeah, 20% on the lower validation campaigns.
Okay.
And if I really want to get aggressive, like so in holiday time or even in the new year, we had some presidential campaigns that were doing really well. I was like, I want to scale these for right now because it's like inauguration's coming up.
Yeah.
And I just duplicated it and scaled significantly the budget, and it worked pretty well.
That's awesome.
For the time frame.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, what would you leave somebody with? So if somebody's like, you've done this, Kyle's very good at this, you can check out, is it newheights.com? Is that your website?
Yeah, there's not much on there right now because it's like just saying it's under construction because literally it is. I just haven't had
you're so you're so busy working with
make my website.
Yeah, like so Kyle's really talented. And I've learned a lot from you over the last 6 months of really working closely together, which has been really cool. And so definitely everyone go search Kyle Heidts or email him or contact him somehow. Yeah, but if you were to leave, so like you've done this, you have a system. I saw you do this with another brand, come from like zero to like, it was like 2 weeks and you're spending $2,000 a day. I'm like, from nothing. I'm like, what just happened here? Like you're really good at doing this stuff. What would you leave someone with? Like, hey, these are the first 5 things that I would do, or first 3 things that I would do. If someone's listening and they're like, I feel like I'm starting at zero, or I feel like I did 2,000 in the last couple of years and I want to get momentum.
Yeah, I think honestly, it's maybe gonna be different than what you expect. It has nothing to do with e-commerce or like business. It's all personal stuff. So I really sometimes I have a hard time of like getting so attached to a vision that my mind comes up with to where I have to just be like, if it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, great. So like if I come with a new brand that's gonna work with me, or if I see something that I'm going to acquire, I get really excited and like, that's my thing. I always see what it could be. Like I see something, I get excited about it, and then I always could see 10, 15, 20 years down the line what it could become. Mm-hmm. And so then I get attached to it to where now I have to let those things go. Where it's like, if it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, great. Like I have to do this. So that's been a huge thing that I then apply to, because if I go into working with the company and I'm like so attached to this vision, 1, it may be different than their vision. Mm-hmm. 2, it may just not work at all. And then 3, tunnel vision works, but also tunnel vision can crush you. And I see that with a lot of companies. They're so driven on doing things that have always been done, but it's costing them their whole business because they won't just make a little pivot because they're so attached to this vision or the way that things have always been done. So I have to really let those things go in the beginning. And that comes to anything. Campaign, if it works, great. If it doesn't, great, which is hard because it's money. And where your treasure goes, your heart is also. So it's like you're attached to it to a certain degree. So it's just letting those things go. Then you can create from that state. It's not a neediness state. And that's how I try to approach things. When I work with somebody new or I see a new opportunity, I have to come from a place of like, not lacking. It's an abundance thing. I don't need it because I already have, shelter, wife, food. I even have a wife before, but like I have food, water, I have simple basic needs, and that's great. So that really changes the approach when you do anything. You're launching a new sales campaign, coming up with a new product idea. If it works, great. If it doesn't, great. And just move on to the next thing. Good. I think Jocko Willink's like good. That's all he says. Good.
Love that video.
Yeah. Good.
I played that at the last event that we did.
Yeah.
I played it for everybody. I'm like, hey, if it doesn't work, good.
So, yeah.
You just became wiser.
Yeah. Spent 20 grand, didn't make anything back, good. Spent 20 grand, made 100 grand, good. Like, simple like that. Anyway, So from that perspective, I then can try to approach things where I put in like a RISE system. So systems are huge. I look for systems throughout anything in life, whether it's for a personal thing, whether it's for my marriage, whether it's for helping my son become a good kid, or like friendships, business. I always look for the systems. And so if there's something that you don't know, there's probably a system for it, which is like Ecommerce Alley. There's a system for testing Facebook ads. There's a system for scaling Facebook ads. There's a system for putting in systems in your business that can help you grow your e-commerce store. Because I don't know, I think all businesses are basically the same. It just comes down to marketing. Like there is a product that needs to be fulfilled. And then there's different levels to that. But for the most part, there's these main systems that if you can make more efficient, or you can hire somebody, or you can buy that system to improve it, it's going to shortcut a lot of things. So systems. So if I approach a new business or a new partnership or anything new, and there's something that I don't know, or there's a system that they don't have in their business, I look for how can I install this system. So majority of it is us installing our systems that we have initially, but if there's something brand new for me, who can I ask to get this system? Who can I hire or whatnot? So systems is number two, because then you just make those efficient and scale and grow, in an efficient way. That's why we like profit first. It's a financial system, things like that. I think the last thing is, I don't know, I was reflecting on this on the way over here because we're going through a massive growth phase. And a long time ago, not too long ago, but I heard from somebody that says growth sucks resources. And I look at that in so many areas of my life where if I want to start getting in better shape, that's growth and like muscle growth and strength growth and all this thing. It's going to suck resources. It's going to suck my time. It's going to suck more food down because I got to eat. So it's going to suck resources there. If I want to grow with my wife in a different way, emotionally or something like that, it's going to suck time from us. It's going to suck a resource. It's going to suck money because maybe we need to like spend time on going on a trip for just us two, or you'll start to learn this as you have a son. Like there's less time for you because you have a new focus.
2 months in, I already am learning that.
Yeah. So growth sucks resources, and just if you're like going through a growth phase and you're like, oh well, it's going to require a new version of you, and it's going to suck resources from you, and it's going to also like, do you want to do that or not? And if you don't, that's fine. But just understand that growth is going to suck a lot of resources, and it's going to suck more resources than you usually have. But that's where faith comes in. That's where, you believe that in the greater, higher God that we believe in, that things are going to work out. And if it happens, great. If it doesn't, great. But it's going to suck resources from you: time, energy, money, which is the biggest resource that I think we're also attached to. And that having those three things just gives you a sense of I can create from a creative state. I know it's going to cost time, energy, and resources to grow. I know I can find systems because systems are going to make things efficient that can support our growth. That's going to suck resources. And then if it works, great. If it doesn't, great. But, those are the things that I think that's like way different than just like, what's the strategy to like grow my e-commerce store?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, are you attached to your e-commerce store? Does it work? If it doesn't work, like, are you okay? People are like, no, my whole life is depending on it. I'm like, okay, well, you're creating from a neediness state now. And so you're going to do things that are like very needy rather than like living out of your creative natural self. So that makes a huge difference. And I think that's why, it comes up in waves and flows because you start to, I notice myself, I'm like, all right, I'm creating from a creative state. I'm pretty relaxed. But then there's also times where I'm like, we have not made any money this month because our campaigns are ads. So I'm like now creating ads because I need to create ads. It's a neediness thing. So it's like, I don't know. It affects everything in your creative mind, yourself. So,
Well, that's a different answer than I was actually expecting because I'm a tactical guy. But I think the whole conversation we had earlier really covered the tactics of what you really would go through.
Yeah.
How you would start to tackle offer and email and ads and all of that good stuff. But I actually like that better. I think that it's your mind is so under appreciated as an entrepreneur, and mental fortitude is really critical. Like that video, if no one's ever seen that video, by the way, Good by Jocko Willink, you should all go watch the video. It's a 4-minute video. It's really good. It's a great perspective that you need to have on life. Because I agree, when you do things out of desperation or neediness, like the result is usually a lot worse.
Yes.
I mean, you need systems too. I mean, like most people don't have systems for most things that they do. I'm like you. That's why we're friends. We're very systems oriented on how we do this to this to this to this. And if there's not a system, it isn't scalable, and it actually becomes a stress. Like it becomes stressful when you don't have a repeatable system for something. Yeah. So if you're listening and you don't have a system for advertising or email or something, go get a system. Buy a system. Invest your resources and time into that.
Yeah.
I agree with you on all of those things, and I think that you gotta. Something that Gary Vee would always say for years is just fall in love with the process. And I don't think I really understood that until the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Where we had a team retreat in December and we talked about growth. We talked about what revenue, what profit we want to do in the next year. And I actually came to that because normally every year we do a team retreat in December and we plan the next year. And I came to that and I said, I have zero profit goal next year for the first time in 12 years or 11 years. I have zero revenue goal for next year. I have 3 criteria that we are going to make a decision. We are going to judge ourselves by that. Everybody in our team has to answer 3 questions every week on Friday. And then if anyone answers no to any of them, it's a no for the whole company. So we have a company scorecard. And the first one is, did I have fun? Mm-hmm. The next one is, did I steward well? The stuff that my own finance, my own time, did I steward well? Was I a good steward of my time and my money, my resources, like you're talking about? And the last question is, did I grow? And if personally, like, did I grow in some way? Did I learn something? Whether it failed or it succeeded, did I say good? Did I learn something?
Yeah.
And so those are the 3 questions that we ask ourselves every week as a company now. And that's how we judge our success. Because I don't care what the number is, if I'm having fun, if I feel like I'm stewarding well, and I feel like I'm growing. And as long as I feel those 3 things, I don't care what the top line number is. There is a line in which profit gets too low where it's uncomfortable, but like if you fall in love with the process of it, I think that is a big learning that I've had in over the last couple of years. It took me a long time to start to realize that like when you're going through a growing phase, like there's going to be pain, but you have to love the process, not only the destination, because it is a process and everyone will endure pain and stress.
Yeah, definitely. I think those 3 questions could be a whole conversation, especially stewardship. Like, oh man, we could talk for hours about stewardship. Yeah,
man. We could. That would be a different podcast because I have a lot of we both have perspective on that.
Yeah, but I think that plays a huge factor into like the success of your business. Because not to have that podcast episode now, but like if you could steward what you've been giving, then you'll be given more.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that the Bible story where the guy's going to leave and he gives the 3 people his bags of money, and one guy buries it, one guy invests it, one guy invests it as well. And the guys who invest it and make it, they're like, well done, good and faithful servant. And the guy who buried it, his money gets taken from him because he did not steward it well, and it is given to the guys who stewarded it well. And I think that's so much in life throughout really everything, whether it's business or whether it's just normal everyday thing. Are you stewarding what you have been given already, whether it's very little? Because if you can't steward what you already have, how can you steward something greater? And that's just the beautiful struggle journey. That's like, once I question myself that, I'm like, if I can steward what I have, more will be given.
Yeah.
And it's so much like business too. So whole other podcast.
I think it's a good ending note though.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Sorry for the not tactical answers.
I love it. No, I think tactical is the whole 40-something minutes before this.
Yeah. Definitely just
thanks for coming out.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
I don't know what your links are. If you have links, we're going to drop them in the description though.
Yeah, I mean, my new Heights Instagram is non-existent. My website is a work in progress.
All right.
And my personal Instagram, it's there, but I've decided to step off Instagram. So it's there, but I don't really interact on it ever. It's deleted off my phone because I got better things to focus on. So,
okay.
But email, Kyle at New Heights.
Kyle at newheights.com.
Yeah.
I love it. Heidts.
Yeah. Heights.
I love it. Cool. Kyle, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
everyone, you've been listening to the Ecommerce Alley podcast. We'll see you next time.